Hello and welcome to this video. What are REST parameters? The REST parameter syntax allows us to represent an indefinite number of arguments as an array. You can identify REST parameters by 3 dots, and they're usually placed inside the function arguments. So this is what a standard REST parameter syntax looks like. You've got the function definition, and then inside the parentheses where you will normally have the argument, you can add the REST parameter. Let's take a look at a couple of differences between REST parameters and the argument object. So the REST parameters are only the ones that haven't been given a separate name. That means they are not formally defined in the function expression, while the argument object contains all the arguments that is passed to a function. The second key difference is that the argument object is not a real array, while the REST parameters are array instances, meaning that methods like sort, map, and so on can be applied on it directly. Inside my console here, I've got a sample syntax here illustrating the REST parameter. So I've got a function here called font name, and inside the parentheses you can see here I've got my REST parameter represented by 3 dots, and then I've got the arguments, and here I'm doing a console.log on the arguments length. Since the args is an array, a count of its element is given using the length property. So if I want to reference this function, I can reference it and pass in different arguments. So if I do, for example, call the function by typing in the function name, fun, and I'll pass in some arguments. So I'll say 5, 6, or 8, 9, and 4. So these are the arguments I've passed to that function. The name of the function, I call it function1. And if I press enter, you can see here is now represented it in, it's giving me a length of 4. Okay, because I've told you here to console.log the length of the arguments, and I have passed in 4 arguments, hence the length is 4. I have added another example here, created a function called multiply, and keep inside that function we've got a multiplier, and then we've got the REST parameter, and then we have the argument. In this example here, a REST parameter is used to collect all the arguments after the first one in an array. Each one of them is then multiplied by the first parameter, and the array is then returned. All right, so that's what basically this code is doing. This asterisk here means multiplication, and here created a variable called r and set it to equals to multiply, which is this function, and then I'm passing in these arguments. So here we are using the example, the REST parameter here is used to collect all the arguments after the first one in an array, and then each one of them is then multiplied by the first parameter and the array is returned. So here, created this variable here, I passed in these values. So now I'm going to console, if I do this console.log and pass in this variable called r, you can see it has returned this value. So if I expand this, you can see the index of the array. Here you go. So 0 index goes to the first element, which is 2. Index 1 goes to 4. Index 2 goes to 6. In this video, I showed you a basic example of using the REST parameter syntax, which allows us to represent an indefinite number of arguments as an array. Thanks for watching.